In the next problems, we will model real-life situations in which we represent the slope as rate of change. The line graph shows the number of welfare beneficiaries in millions for selected years. A. Find the slope of each line segment. Well, when we look at the graph, remember that this is in millions. Each mark is 2 million. And in the horizontal axis, you'll see that we start at 0, but we've broken it so that we can then show from 1970 to 2000 in an exploded view. So we want to find the slope of each line segment. To do that, we want to figure out this point, and then we calculate the slope, which is equal to the rise over the run. Well, this point here is 1970, 7 million. And I'll leave it just as 7. This point is 1980, 11 million. And so, when we go to find the rise, it goes from 7 million up to 11 million. So that's a rise of 4 million. So 4 million would be in the numerator. Now the run would go from 1970 to 1980. And so the run is 10. And so in this particular case, you can see that we could either write the slope as 4 million divided by 10, which would be 400,000, or we could write it as a decimal, 0.4, where it's representing millions per year. And so let's write it that way, that's our slope. And remember that it's in millions. Well, what about this segment right here, which I'll mark with an X? That's a horizontal line segment. And remember, every horizontal line segment, I'm going to call this M2 to distinguish it, has a slope of 0. So M2 is 0. Now let's take a look at what I will label as M3. M3 is this line segment, but let's think for a moment and notice what's going on. In this case, the height is 11 million. And for this point, the height is 7 million. So in a sense, we're using the same numbers that we've used over here because once again, when we look at the dates, it's from 1990 to 2000, a difference of 10. And so what I'm getting at is that this slope has the same numerical value, or the same absolute value, I should say, as this one, but it's negative. In other words, M3 is negative 0.4, and again, that's in millions per year. For part B, interpret each slope as a rate of change. We'll start with the first slope, which we found to be 0.4, and remember that that refers to, in terms of a rate of change, that the number of welfare beneficiaries increased. What we will say is 0.4 million per year. Now for the second slope, M sub 2 equals 0. Remember that was the horizontal line segment. We interpret that as there was no increase per year. Or you could write a 0 increase per year. For M3, which is a slope of negative 0.4, that would be that the number of welfare beneficiaries decreased 0.4 million per year. Now remember, in all of these cases, those are averages per year. It doesn't actually mean that was the exact number, but over the span of that line segment, in this case, it was 1970 to 1980. So the average was an increase of 0.4 million welfare beneficiaries per year. This, of course, was from 1980 to 1990, and this one was 1990 to 2000, where on average, the number of welfare beneficiaries decreased 0.4 million per year.